January 4th, 2024. The convoy arrived just after sunrise, black SUVs passing through the gates of a private estate north of Pretoria. No sirens, no chaos, just quiet authority. Inside, security was tight, cameras banned. Only a handful of people were allowed past the guards. This wasn't an ordinary funeral. It was the final send-off for a man named Jonathan Zanimvula Msibi, better known as King Mzwazi. For years, he ruled the taxi industry with an iron fist, feared, respected, and untouchable. Now he lay in a polished mahogany coffin, draped in red roses, surrounded by the kind of people who never show up to ordinary funerals. Former Police Minister Bheki Cele was in attendance, his trademark hat in hand, eyes locked on the casket. Not far away, EFF leader Julius Malema watched in silence, the reflection of the grave flickering in his glasses. The service was brief, private, and controlled. The program called him a visionary, a man who brought order to chaos. But outside the marquee, the whispers told a different story. They said his power wasn't built on taxis alone, that behind the fleets and routes lay something darker, a network stretching beyond borders, moving more than just passengers. No one spoke of it directly. Not here. Not on this manicured piece of land, hidden behind electric fences and trees that smelled of money. But everyone knew what he was. Ruthless, strategic, unforgiving. The kind of man whose empire didn't end when his heart stopped, only shifted hands. As the coffin was lowered into the soil, a hush fell over the crowd. Men in black suits looked at each other but said nothing. Some bowed their heads, others checked their phones, already thinking about the future. The air felt heavy, thick with unspoken tension, the kind that comes when a kingdom loses its king. When the last prayer ended, the guests left the same way they arrived, quietly, efficiently, like soldiers withdrawing from a battlefield. And as the gates closed behind them, the question lingered in the dust. Who would inherit the empire that Jonathan Msibi built in blood and fear?
The applicant is a dangerous criminal with no regard to human life. The crimes that he is charged with are at this stage 4 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, 4 counts of murder, and if he is convicted, he will face a long term of imprisonment. The evidence against the applicant is overwhelming, and if released on bail, he has a strong motive to evade justice. He has means to leave the country at any time. In summary, his movement across border over years is as follows. Applicant left Republic of South Africa 115 times since 2004, December 2021, until 2004, February 25. During his arrest in Vereeniging, applicant handed over his passport to me. What is significant is that after he succeeded with bail appeal, he on numerous occasions contacted me through his lawyer requesting his passport to be handed back to him. I refused to hand to him his passport back because I consider him to be a flight risk, especially now with further charges being handed against him.
This is 61-year-old Katiso Molefe, aka KT. On the 20th of November 2025, he appeared at the Alexandria Magistrate Court. He was facing charges of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and the possession of unlicensed guns and ammunition. KT was arrested on the 6th of December 2024 at his multi-million rand estate in Sandhurst, Johannesburg. The arrest operation was led by the Gauteng Crime Unit and the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team. His arrest was in connection with the murder of a man named Armand Swart. Swart was shot and killed on the 17th of April 2024 at his workplace in the town of Vereeniging. His murder was a case of mistaken identity. His killers were looking for his boss, who a few weeks before Swart's death had discovered fraud and tender irregularities at the state-owned enterprise, Transnet. At the time of KT's arrest, he was armed and was found to be in possession of multiple vehicles and firearms at his mansion. During the search of his home, the police found a rifle in a car's back seat, along with magazines and ammunition. Electronic devices and cell phones were seized by the police, and in one room they found documents KT claimed belonged to his son. He told the police that the documents related to Transnet tenders and a company named Ski Group, which is directly tied to Swart's murder. It's alleged that KT's nephew, Lucky Molefe, worked at Transnet as a buyer. During his first appearance at the Alexander Magistrates Court, he was charged with 5 counts of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, possession of unlicensed guns, and possession of illegal ammunition. One of the murder charges that KT was facing was for the assassination of Amapiano artist Upa Sefoka, aka DJ Somebody.
Gauteng police are searching for suspects of a shooting incident in Woodmead, north of Johannesburg, that claimed the life of DJ Somebody. The renowned DJ and music artist Upa John Sefoka, who collaborated with a number of artists including Kwaito legend Tebe, DJ Tira and Casper Nyovest, dropped the song titled Monate Mpolaye, as well as several other albums. Now, police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the shooting in the early hours of this morning.
DJ Somebody was shot and killed on the 20th of November 2022 in the city of Pretoria. On that night, Somebody was driving his blue VW Polo on the way to perform at an event in Woodmead, Sandton, when he was a victim of a drive-by shooting. He was shot multiple times with an AK-47 rifle, and he died instantly on the scene. His bodyguard, Spusiso Mokoena, was also hit multiple times, and he also passed away. Another guard who was with DJ Somebody, who was driving a BMW X5, was also shot, and he died a few days later at the hospital. The state connected KT to the murder of DJ Somebody through police ballistics tests. One of the firearms that was found at KT's residence was an AK-47 rifle. This AK-47 was linked directly to the bullets that ripped through DJ Somebody's vehicle on the morning that he was assassinated. The state also alleges that this same rifle was also used in the murder of Hector Buthelezi, popularly known as DJ Vintos, a South African musician and business owner. DJ Vintos was gunned down outside a nightclub in Orlando East, Soweto, in March 2022. He was reportedly shot over 27 times by masked gunmen who were driving a BMW X3. The same AK-47 rifle was also used in the murder of Armand Swart and a cluster of other violent cases across Gauteng, connecting it to more than 24 shootings. According to the KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team, this firearm was part of a small, tightly managed arsenal of guns that moved through criminal networks with precision. The AK-47, along with 2 pistols, also seized in KT's case, had a forensic signature that investigators had been tracing for years. What complicated matters further was evidence showing some of the weapons, had previously been recovered by police, yet somehow resurfaced in the hands of hitmen. This pointed to manipulation of evidence, possible internal corruption, and a network capable of recycling guns through the SAPS system. KT became the central figure not because he pulled the trigger, but because the evidence consistently returned to him. Phone records reportedly place him in contact with suspected hitmen before and after key murders. Financial trails show unexplained payments to co-accused individuals. WhatsApp messages, according to investigators, contain discussions that align too closely with the planning of the hits, and the very suspects arrested with the firearms form the same circle linked to somebody's death. The SAPs argue that KT had motive, influence, and resources. They describe him as the coordinator, the man responsible for assigning shooters, supplying weapons, and deciding targets. In their narrative, the gun did not just tie KT to a murder scene, it tied him to a pattern. The ballistic matches became the backbone of a larger conspiracy case, a case that involves a Gauteng-based criminal organization that deals in drug trafficking, hitmen for hire, tender fraud, hijackings, cash-in-transit heist, and also security companies, just to name a few. A criminal organization which the KwaZulu-Natal Police Generals call the Big Five Drug Syndicate.
In the year 2022, a request was received from Gauteng Organized Crime Investigating Unit to assist with the investigation to dismantle the organized crime syndicate that was operating in Gauteng, that was controlled in Gauteng but operating in the rest of the country and in neighboring countries. I, as a Provincial Commissioner, took a decision to deploy 10 members from this political killings task team to go and support this organized crime unit in Gauteng. I can tell South Africans that this decision is a for the disbandment letter of this team, because they overstepped their mandate of only focusing in KZN. They went to support Gauteng organized crime unit with the dismantling of a criminal syndicate. And I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and correctional services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the Drug Cartel, as well as business people in that province of Gauteng.
According to the police, in Gauteng's underworld, one syndicate stands above the rest. The Big Five Cartel, a covert network built on political influence, police infiltration, and organized violence. The unraveling of the Gauteng Big Five Cartel has exposed one of the most complex criminal networks operating in South Africa today. At the center of this network are three names repeatedly surfacing across testimony, ballistic reports, and intelligence briefings: Katiso, KT, Molefe, Vusi Muzi, Kat Matlala, and the late taxi boss, Jonathan King Mzwazi Masibi. While each man comes from different sector, business, private security, and taxi leadership, their connections form the backbone of a syndicate that investigators say blends violent crime, deep corruption, and legitimate industry influence under one coordinated criminal structure. The alleged starting point of this web is Jonathan Masibi, long regarded in police circles as the head of a shadowy Pretoria-based structure known as the Firm. While outwardly a powerful taxi figure, the Firm is described by witnesses at the Madlanga Commission as a multi-layered criminal network that predates the Big Five Cartel and provided the template, protection and hierarchy for modern organized crime in the province of Gauteng. From this foundation, the Big Five cartel emerged as a more aggressive, diversified criminal syndicate operating across Gauteng. Testimony from senior police intelligence officials describes the cartel as a coalition of influential crime figures, controlling sectors such as drug trafficking, contract killings, kidnappings, cross-border hijackings, and tender manipulation. Within this structure, both KT and Kat Matlala allegedly operate as key pillars. Kat Matlala is repeatedly mentioned as one of the cartel's most connected figures. He is tied to large-scale drug distribution networks, extortion rackets, and high-level political infiltration. His WhatsApp messages with senior police officials and business leaders revealed during the Madlanga Commission suggests he had the means to influence investigations and secure protection. For the cartel's activities, Matlala's role is often described as the strategist and fixer, the figure who bridges criminal operations with institutional power. KT Molefe, by contrast, is linked more directly to violent enforcement. The high-profile murders of DJ Somebody and DJ Vintos positions KT not merely as an associate, but as an orchestrator within the cartel's contract-killing division. Investigators allege that KT organized shooters, supplied the weapons, and managed the operational side of targeted hits. Financial records, phone data, and digital communication reportedly place him in direct collaboration with the same individuals, connected to Kat Matlala's political and policing circles. The connection between KT Matlala and Jonathan Masibi becomes clear when viewed through the structure of the Big Five cartel. Masibi's network provided the base. Matlala handled influence, protection, and political leverage. KT managed execution, logistics, and the violent enforcement side. Together, they form three interlocking layers of the same criminal architecture: legacy leadership, institutional infiltration, and operational violence, making the Big Five cartel one of the most entrenched and dangerous syndicates South Africa has ever seen.